Good morning, Western Washington, and happy Thursday. I'm Matthew Fab with Western Washington Weather, and today we're going to take a look at the forecast for the next few days, including the snow potential. But first, we're going to take a look at the storm that is moving in right now. As you can see on the satellite imagery, we have some low clouds across most of the Puget Sound area, with high clouds streaming in. That is ahead of the frontal system that will be moving in over the next few hours here. Taking a look also at our air quality amounts right now, you can see that there is still some pretty stagnant air across Western Washington, all the way from Centralia, all the way up through Arlington, and even up toward parts of Vancouver, BC. You can see there around downtown Vancouver, parts of Whatcom County as well. There's just a lot of stagnant air. We haven't had much wind over the last couple of weeks, but that's about to change. So let's take a look at this forecast here. This is the European model. You can see that rain will be reaching the coast this evening. The North Whatcom County there, North Cascades, the Olympics will all be getting some rain and snow by this afternoon to early this evening. By 10 p.m. to 1 a.m. there, you can see that rain spreads across all of Western Washington, with mountain snow beginning. Heavy rain at times and heavy mountain snow continues all the way through Friday, continuing into Friday evening there, and then turning a little bit more showery as we go into Saturday, and that's where some of the uncertainty begins. As you can see, the Arctic air starting to spill out over the Gulf of Alaska there between and into the Pacific Northwest there between Haida Gwaii and Vancouver Island, and then we're going to start to have some more interesting things to talk about here in a moment, so we'll get to that in just a minute here. Let's take a look here through Saturday night. You can see the European model showing most of the Puget Sound area getting 3/4 of an inch to 1.5 inches of rain. You can see Seattle there getting about 0.85 inches, about 1 inch for Tacoma and Olympia. And you can see the coast are getting a pretty good amount of rain, 1.5 to 2 inches, and places like Everett and Mount Vernon and Bellingham getting around 1 inch of rain. You can see the rain shadow for parts of Whidbey Island and the San Juans in the northern Olympic Peninsula, but it looks like most of Western Washington will get at least some rain with this, with the majority of the region getting 0.75 to 1.5 inches. And we're also going to have some wind with this system. So you can see this is the NAM high-resolution model. I want to point out strong southeasterly winds here for Whatcom County and parts of Skagit and Island counties as well, maybe 45 miles an hour or so near Bellingham. And then we have the westerly surge down the Strait of Juan de Fuca Friday night, likely going to bring gusts of 40 to 50 miles per hour for parts of Whidbey Island, the Admiralty Inlet area, around Discovery Bay and Squim and the Dungeness Spit there. And then you can see some strong gusts on the coast as well, especially down by the Long Beach Peninsula there, gusts of 45 to 55 miles per hour. And then in the interior here, you can see gusts of 35 to 40 miles per hour. Maybe some 40-mile-per-hour gusts there around Olympia and Tacoma. You can see 35 miles an hour around Seattle. So this will surely clear out all of that stagnant air in addition to the rain that is coming in. And another big thing to watch here is mountain snow. So this is snow through 7 p.m. Saturday there, and you can see some snow showers could be maybe bringing a little bit of accumulation to the I-5 corridor there from Everett to Bellingham, but these amounts are likely too high. Same thing with any of these amounts showing up in the lowlands. Take those with a grain of salt at this point. But you can see here in the mountains, places like Stevens Pass, Snoqualmie Pass, and White Pass will be getting up to 2 feet of snow, maybe a tiny bit more there. So some pretty big snowfall totals coming for the mountains with this storm, especially on Friday and Saturday. So be prepared if you're going to be crossing the state during those days, especially from Friday morning through Saturday morning, with some big travel impacts possible over the passes, especially Snoqualmie and Stevens Pass. Those are pretty heavily traveled, and 2 feet of snow on those passes in just about 24 hours is pretty significant, so heads up with that. Now let's take a look at what you all want to talk about, of course, that Arctic air potential. So what we're looking at here is the European model on the left and the GFS model here on the right, and we're comparing the... Let's actually just change this comparison very slightly there. So we're comparing the ensemble members here, and what you're seeing is these lines, the black lines here are the sea level pressure, and the colors are the pressure at about 18,000 feet or 500 millibars up in the atmosphere. This is going to help show the location of the Arctic area. You can see good model agreement here between the European ensemble, the GFS ensemble on our system moving in tonight and tomorrow. Then you see this polar lobe start to move down into the region. You can see the Arctic high showing up on both of these forecasts. And then you can see how as we go into Sunday and Monday there, both the European ensemble and the GFS ensemble have this area of low pressure right off the Washington coast, and that is what is going to be bringing some precipitation back up into the area on both these forecasts here, and is going to be potentially bringing some snow to western Washington. So you can see as we go into Wednesday there, that low starts to weaken and move southward, but you can see how the polar lobe kind of stays offshore a bit and takes its time moving inland. That is going to make this a more marginal snow event with the where we're kind of looking at temperatures right on the fence of snow or rain-snow mix. Some localized areas are going to get a much larger amounts of snow than some other places not that far away. So kind of more of the typical western Washington snow events. It's a pain to forecast because it is so close to being big for some areas and not for some other areas. So let's take a look a little bit more at some of that uncertainty. European model on the left, GFS on the right, and we're looking at the precipitation type here. So you can see as we go through today and tomorrow, you have heavy mountain snow, lowland rain across the region, and then as we go into Saturday, you start to have some of those disagreements in the forecast there. This is very early Saturday morning. You can see both forecasts show convergence zone. GFS shows it a bit colder, bringing heavy snow. European model shows a rain-snow mix with some snow in the foothills. And then you can see as we go through the day Saturday, the European model is just a tad bit warmer, showing some areas of lowland rain and then snow in the foothills and the mountains, while the GFS shows majority snow. And you can see as this low offshore just continues to push precipitation in, we do have some better agreement there, potentially Sunday morning on some snow showers across western Washington. And then the Euro shows that changing briefly to rain on Sunday evening. GFS shows that continuing as snow before another wave of precipitation moves in there on Monday. Very early Tuesday morning there. And you can see the European model shows that, and the GFS does not really. The GFS kind of keeps it a little bit further offshore, impacting eastern Washington a little bit more, while the European model shows some light snow across a decent portion of western Washington. So there's definitely still some uncertainty, especially as we go out toward Wednesday and Thursday. And let's take a look at that there here. As we go out to Thursday, you can see the European model shows another system moving in Thursday into Friday, while the GFS has nothing and has a system way further south over California. So you can see as we go out to just about 200 hours out from this forecast, there's huge disagreements between the European model and the GFS. So this definitely means there's a lot to watch over the next couple days, and things could certainly change. So another thing we can look at here with the European model on the left and the GFS on the right is where the wind is coming from. I've noticed some of you in the comments are talking about the Fraser River outflow, and that is a good indication of our Arctic air potential. So you can see here we're looking at wind at 10 meters above the surface, and we're looking at the direction that wind is going. So you can see the southeasterly winds increase ahead of this upcoming system, and then see the westerly surge down the Strait of Juan de Fuca, much stronger on the GFS than on the Euro. If you do believe the GFS, you may be looking at some gusts over 50 to 55 miles per hour for Whidbey Island especially. You can see the convergence zone signature there. Euro has it over areas between Seattle and Everett. GFS has a little bit further north over Everett to Mount Vernon, or Everett to Arlington there. And you can see how as we go through Sunday, we have the onshore flow through the strait and then up through Puget Sound. But take a look as we go in to, that would be very early Sunday morning there. This flow turns a little bit more southeasterly and then starts to turn to the east over parts of Whatcom County. And then by the time we get to early Monday morning, we have full-fledged Fraser outflow just pouring out of the Fraser Valley there. And the Euro and GFS both have decent agreement on the timing of this. And then take a look as we go into, this would be about Monday afternoon there. Around noon on Monday, you can see the GFS has the Fraser outflow pulling all the way down Puget Sound with northerly flow through Puget Sound and then off the coast, while the European model takes a little bit more time for this to happen. You can see the Euro gets that northerly flow down Puget Sound a few hours later than the GFS does, and that could impact any precipitation that falls. But you can see there is agreement by the time we get to Tuesday morning there, that both forecasts do show that northerly flow coming down Puget Sound, which gives us a higher chance of some colder temperatures and colder air. As we get to about Wednesday there, Tuesday night into Wednesday, the forecast disagreement continues, so we're not going to go past there. But there is good agreement in the potential for that northerly flow pushing all the way down Puget Sound, which increases the potential for snow because you're not dealing with the warm southerly flow, you're dealing with that cold northerly flow, and you may, if you get precipitation coming in with that, then you could get some snow. So this is something we've been looking at over the past few days. If you've been following along in the videos here, this is looking at a cross-section of temperatures. So this is really high in the atmosphere, and this is the surface. And you can see the days here. So as we go through Thursday and Friday, you can see here at SeaTac, it's pretty warm with that system moving through. However, as we go into Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, we start to get colder, and then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday on the European model is quite cold. This has been slowly trending colder over the last couple of days, which we're still looking at a very marginal setup here. As you can see, the temperatures get above freezing, because freezing is this line between the dark purple and this greenish white. You can see the temperatures tick a little bit above freezing each day there, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. You compare that to somewhere like Bellingham, where you get above freezing on Saturday, just barely on Sunday, and then you're below freezing for quite a while there next week. This is illustrating why there's a better chance of snow in places like Bellingham than further south in Seattle and Olympia, which we'll look at in just a second. And that is, again, because of that Fraser outflow. Bellingham is much closer, directly exposed, in fact, to the Fraser outflow versus somewhere like Seattle and Olympia, where you have to kind of wait for that outflow to get down the sound and push out that southerly flow. You take a look at Olympia here, and you can see how it is even more marginal than SeaTac. Definitely getting above freezing Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and then maybe staying mostly below freezing for some part of next week. So bottom line is it's still a very uncertain forecast. We still have a lot to kind of watch fall into place here over the next couple days. The thing that is certain is that we're going to be getting a lot of rain. We're going to clear out that stagnant air. We're going to have some gusty winds. All of that happening tonight into tomorrow. That westerly surge down the strait peaks tomorrow night. And then we're also going to have some pretty significant mountain snow over the next couple of days here, especially from Friday morning into Saturday morning. So big heads up if you're going to be crossing the mountain passes during that time. If you'd like to stay updated, you can subscribe here on Western Washington Weather. Subscribe here. We are just under 1,000 subscribers. So we need about 70 more subscribers to reach 1,000, and that would be really awesome if we could do that soon. So please be sure to subscribe, ring that notification bell, and like and share these videos. And also follow me on Blue Sky, on Twitter, and on the Western Washington Weather Facebook group. I will definitely be doing more videos over the next few days as we have a lot of forecasting to do with this system coming up. So stay tuned, and I'll talk to you all then.